Okay, next project here. This is one I've had on my shelf for a long time. Let's see, this is the Special Weapons Dalek. On here they say Gunner, but it's always been known as the Special Weapons Dalek. The Abomination. This is based off of a Comet Miniatures Dalek model kit. There's a company that, this was like, I want to say early 90s, Reshape. They did variations that you could basically use your Dalek pieces for. They had this one. They also have the Emperor Dalek from Remembrance of the Daleks, which is the 25th anniversary story, and well, it was part of the 25th anniversary season of Doctor Who. Silver Nemesis was actually considered the 25th anniversary story. But yeah, Remembrance of the Daleks had, this was one of the new Daleks that they introduced. Also, the Emperor Dalek. Spoilers, it was Davros all the time. So they have that kit available as well, which I have. And then there's also, let's see, what is it? The Golden Emperor from the TV 21 comics. I've got that one done and sitting on my shelf, which I'm going to insert a picture here. And yeah, so he's done. I also have two Comet Miniatures Dalek models. One is in need of some repair, and the other one has not been built yet. But I kind of borrowed the parts for the weapon arm for the Golden Emperor. So with this one right here, this is resin, but this is old time resin. This is I don't want to say old time, but it's a resin known as GRP. It's like glass reinforced polymer, I believe it is. But yeah, listen, this stuff is brittle. On the original TV21 Emperor kit, it arrived broken, and there was just pieces, shards of resin all over the place. And they were nice enough to replace it for me. But this is one of the extra pieces. If I were to drop this on the, like say, on my kitchen floor, it would shatter. It's as easy as that. It's so brittle. So I have to be extremely careful with this guy here. We got, let's see, I started working on this a long time ago. You got this white metal piece here that goes into a drilled hole. And that's used to keep the head onto the shoulder section. And then you got the top there. And then your gun, which this is put together for the most part. This is some old milliput. The instructions actually say to put 5 pennies on there and glue them in place. So when the weapon is, what is it? You put it down and it kind of levels itself out like that. So that's how that works. We've got the shoulder section here, which it looks like I started to clean it up a little bit when I was younger. This is before I had files and Dremels and all that fun stuff. Look at how I chewed that out. That's hilarious. Waiting for a spider to come crawling out of here. More milliput. Oh, here's, yeah, look at that. That's resin dust you do not want to breathe in, so we're going to get rid of that right now. Yeah, I will be wearing a mask for this when I sand it and file. Okay, and then you got this section here. This looks like it's already been glued in place. And I just have to do some cleanup on here. They are not the cleanest kits. I mean, look at the bottom of that. It doesn't even sit flush. That's gonna have to get cleaned off. The skirt balls here, those are gonna have to get cleaned up. Whoa, there's gonna be a nice amount of work on these bad boys. I might just use like a sanding stick. There's one right there with a hole in it, so I gotta fill that in. But yeah, this stuff is so brittle. I gotta be so careful with this. There's some Mars on here. I just gotta clean that up, clean this up. This is gonna be a project. Ooh, I just pulling resin off. And clean up the base a little bit. But the fun thing about this, I mean, I love Daleks. I have a huge Dalek collection. And the Special Weapons Dalek has a place near and dear to my heart, because look how dirty he is. All weathered. And who do you know that enjoys weathering models? Yeah, this guy here. So what I'm going to do is, yeah, look, so dusty. It's been sitting in my Doctor Who room for years. And then before that, it was sitting in a box for years. Yeah, I want to say early to mid 90s for these bad boys here. But yeah, this is going to be a fun one. Like I said, I love weathering. I love griming. And this guy's all about that. And you've got all your pristine looking Daleks, and then this guy comes rolling out of the shuttlecraft, and he is filthy. He's weathered. He's got oil stains all over him. It's a beautiful thing. As I move my camera with my arm. Put this back together here, and it's meant to move around. And in the show, he took out a whole squad of Daleks with just like one shot. Put that back on there. I might regret gluing that all together before I painted it, but it'll be okay. I'm gonna pop that on there. And this one doesn't even speak, he just destroys. So, long intro, sorry about that. I love talking about these things. Let's clean this thing off first, and then I'll get out some sanding sticks and some sandpaper and a mask, because I'm definitely gonna need that. I might actually pull out the spray booth, so as I'm cleaning it off, I can just blow the particles right into the filter. So, okay, we'll be back in a little bit. Okay, so starting on the cleanup process here, which was unbearably long and boring, but it needed to be done. There were quite a few of those skirt balls that I couldn't get cleaned up as well as I could have. So thankfully, this thing is covered in grease and grime and oil and weathering. So I'm going to use that to my advantage. It's not going to be perfect, but I'm going to do the best that I can. That milliput spot right there, I realized that years ago when I got this, there was a hole there, like right in the shoulder section. There's I don't know if it was from in transit or what, but there was a nice little hole there, so I just filled it up with some milliput, and this was like mid 90s, so I had no idea what I was doing back then. But yep, I started to smooth it out a little bit, and yep, years later, I actually know what I'm doing now, so I decided to go in there and clean it all up. But there's, I actually noticed with, when I was cleaning it, there are some spots in here that it actually looks like, I'm trying to think of the name of it. You see it a lot on tanks. I'm gonna have to pause this and figure it out, but yeah, there's like a lot of weld marks that like really bad looking weld marks. So it's yeah, it looks looks like it was meant to be like that. Snipping off some of this resin, just using the sprue cutters here. I'm not sure if that was a good idea or not, but it did the job. And then I go back in and file it all down. Yeah, there's so much filing on this one. And yeah, look at those. There are some that, yeah, I'm just gonna have to hide it with the weathering, because there's no way that I can get those as clean as some of the other ones that you see there. But that's I'm just happy that I have this kit to be able to do that with. Alright, going back to the shoulder section here, I just wanted to make sure I could try and smooth down that old mill put as much as I could. It's going to be hidden by paint and grime and weathering later on, but I don't want it to be able to be seen through all that too. So just dampened a paper towel, went over that. It doesn't really reactivate the mill put, but maybe a little bit, but I was able to smooth it down with the damp cloth. Plus, it gets all those extra particles off of there. Then I just go over the rest of it, try and get as much off of there as possible. I think I took an old paintbrush, like a large paintbrush, and just kind of swept most of that off of there too. And yeah, those skirt balls are just horrifying to look at right now. And they do end up looking pretty nice after initial paint job and weathering, but right now I'm looking at this as I'm editing. I'm like, this was a job in itself. All right, the Vallejo plastic putty. Not sure if this was the best option or not, but I went ahead and I filled in all those little holes in the skirt balls. I think it's like 56 skirt balls total along every Dalek. I might be wrong with my math, but that's just my first guess. But yeah, just filling these in. Then I go back later with some fine sandpaper to clean it up a little bit. And something about this little spot here, I think it eventually opened up again. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. All right, the file work. I was using both the sanding stick and the files. There are a couple of these that are just so bad. I went in with the knife here, and they're just like, look at those things. They are awful, and I'm just so glad that the model itself, the actual character, is just filthy and grimy, where I could just cover a lot of that up with an oil wash. So, but in the end, it actually looks pretty good. So. And then I think I will use 3 or 4 different files on this altogether. And if I got a few nicks and scrapes because of the file, I'm just going to add that to the weathering. All right, so I'm not going to use pennies for this. I'm going to use some washers. I think I ended up using 4 or 5 washers total, and it does do the job. So. Those little wispies on there, and I actually had to clear out the inside of that a little bit better, because those washers were, they're larger than pennies, so I just had to use a lot more of them, and I had to make sure that it would fit inside there without any problems. But just going in right now and adding a washer at a time to see if it's going to affect the actual movement. And yeah, I think that's like 5 washers there. Yep, that's cleaner than it was before, and it'll stay in place there. So get those little hot glue wispies off of there. That's after the initial priming, and you can see that there was still a little bit of a step where the mill put was. So I'm just going in there again and hitting it again with the file. Try and clean that up a little bit. Then just using the finger test, and if you can actually feel the step, that's when you have to go back in and clean it up again. Okay, so in the story Remembrance of the Daleks, the Imperial Daleks are like cream and gold color. So for the cream, I used a Krylon satin ivory, and I didn't want to just put gold right over the ivory color there. So I use a flat brown from Tamiya. Normally, my Tamiyas are mainly for model work and airbrushing. They don't really go on that well with a brush. I know a lot of painters, and you want to let if you're painting a figure, you want to let it dry completely before you put another coat on. This takes a little bit longer, plus it's so easy to pull off the original layer of paint with a brush. So you just gotta be really careful with that. But I use the brown as a good base for the gold, because it looks way better. Plus with the weathering, it's going to make it a lot easier to weather up and dirty up the model itself. Balls, skirt balls. Yeah, these the bad sculpted ones look so terrible right now. But like I said, I'm going to cover them up with an oil wash. And it's going to be really hard to see that they look that bad after it's all done. And honestly, that's I'm not too worried about the way that brown looks, because I'm going to put a gold wash over them. Balls! Okay, for the gold, I'm using Vallejo Game Color Glorious Gold. I'm not thinning it down as much as a wash. I'm just making it a very, very thin paint. I still want to see that brown underneath, just to give it a little bit of depth, and it's going to make it a lot easier to weather it up and grime everything. But in the end, it came out really nice, and I put a lighter coat of gold on some areas just to see if that would help it out, but I like how it turned out, so I'm leaving it like that. Alright, time for some oil washes. We're using Abteilung 502 Starship Filth. Basically, you just squeeze a little bit into a container, add some mineral spirits, thin it down really nice, and then you're just going to give it an overall wash. After the wash is done, you're going to wait about 20 minutes to a half hour. You don't want to really wait too long after that, because it's just going to be harder to take the paint off. But after about 20 minutes or so, just go in with either a brush, cotton swab, or just some paper towels, and a little bit of mineral spirits, not too much, just very damp, and you just want to start wiping some of it away. And there's the before and after there. And this is a technique where it's easy to overdo it, but it's so much fun to keep going. There's a few areas that I went over more than once, just because when you're actually doing it, as you're wiping it off, it's easy to wipe off too much, because it comes off so easily, and then you just go back and add a little bit more and wipe it off, add a little bit more. But this is where the actual look of the Special Weapons Dalek comes into play, because all the other Daleks they're clean, they're tidy, they're bright and shiny, cream colored, and if they're Imperial Daleks, and then you get this one and he's just a mess. So in the book they actually named him the Abomination, because I don't know, I guess the Dalek creature inside is mentally unstable to begin with. They throw him in this thing and he just goes to town. And when I was younger, I was so hoping for like a Special Weapons Dalek action figure, and they have one out now, but just to have that plus the model kit now, it's just so much fun. It adds a lot to my Dalek collection. Alright, so you can see where the little bit of these little dots on here with the oil paint there, and you just take a brush with a little bit of mineral spirits just to pull down. I mean, you probably can't see this from far away, but you get up close and you start seeing some of the details. It looks really nice. And there's a couple spots there where I'm just going to add some more of the oil wash, like right in between the shoulders over there. Now this went on a little thick, so normally I wouldn't have it on that thick, but I got a good layer on this and gave it a good weight and wiped it all off. All right, dirtying up the skirt and the skirt balls. Basically, there's just oil that runs down the length of each panel there. So I just went in and around each one. I want to make sure I got the oil on the perimeter of each of the skirt balls, because you saw how ugly some of those were in the beginning. And then after my 20 minutes or so waiting, I just take a damp paper towel with some mineral spirits on it and just start wiping down the cream colored areas. And getting the gun area here too, so can't forget about that, because that cannon's gonna wipe out some Daleks or whatever else it comes into contact with. See, in the episode there was a civil war going on between the Imperial Daleks and the Renegade Daleks, and all sorts of fun ensues. So I'll tell you what though, when I watched it for the first time and you see the Special Weapons Dalek come out of that sheltercraft, I mean, it was goosebumps. Alright, and you can see how that's starting to come together there. If I can move it over a little bit to the right, there we go. And there's some spots too where I'll go over it a second or even a third time, just because I want to add some more of that wash. But the wash it gives that cream color a good stain to it as well. I mean, the pristine Imperial Daleks, they don't look like this, but this one, yeah, he's filthy and he's weathered. It's everything I enjoy doing in models and minis. Speaking of models and minis, hey, if you like what you're seeing here, I ask just give the video a like. It really helps with the algorithm. I'm trying to make my way to 1,000 subscribers so I can monetize the channel. And yeah, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. I mean, we're having so much fun with this. Yeah, I've got a lot of fun projects coming up, including a collaboration with Danny from Easy 8 Online Painting Club. I still want to focus on some smaller channels, some friends of the channels. Anthony over at the Crafty DM, Tom over at Flying Monkey Studios, Cameron over at Country Fried Minis, and just want to get the word out and get some more people subscribed to these great channels. And we're all less than 1,000 subs, and each of these channels, they do a lot of really nice work. So really want to showcase some of these guys. But we're heading up to the final reveal here, so. And like I asked, if you liked it, give it that thumbs up, subscribe, share, comment, and tell me what your favorite Doc story is, whether it's classic series Doctor Who or the new Who from 2005. So yeah, let's get a discussion started with this. But final reveal's coming up, so if you made it this far, I know it's a little bit of a longer one, but thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Hey, if you enjoyed the video, check out the playlist on the left and hit that subscribe button on the right. Thanks again for watching. I really appreciate it.